तोड़ के पिंजड़ा जाने कब उड़ जाऊंगी मैं, लाख बिछा दो बंदिशें, फिर भी आसमान में जगह बनाऊंगी मैं। हाँ, गर्व है मुझे, मैं बेटी हूँ। फिर Good evening, everyone. This is Aparna Mishra, founder of Women Shine. Welcomes you all to this live show. Women Shine is a global digital magazine which is for women and lifestyle. On account of National Girl Child Day, we have with us three change makers who are bringing changes in the mindset of people of the society. एक सर्वे होता है जिसका नाम है नेशनल फैमिली हेल्थ सर्वे, जो कि बताता है कि मेन एंड वुमेन का रेशियो को बताता है वो। तो अकॉर्डिंग टू फिफ्थ एडिशन ऑफ दिस नेशनल फैमिली हेल्थ सर्वे, द proportion of women has exceeded men. I think that's a very good news. So for every 1,000 men, we have 1,020 women. और यही सर्वे जो 15-16 में किया गया था, तब देवर 991 women for every 1,000 men. So I think ये एक increasing trend है and we should be positive that जब next survey होगा तो जो figure difference है ये जो men and women का ये increase हो चुका होगा. And of course also the kind of work various people are doing in this field, I'm sure we will see a great impact. So today we have three amazing women with us who believe in empowering girls and thus empowering nation. So I will just, before we discuss their work, the impact they have done, I will just call out their names. We have Aparna Narain from Progress Alternatives.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Aparna. And we have Saloni Bhardwaj from Lotus Petal Foundation.
Good evening. Namaste.
And we have Versha Kumar from InnerWheel organization.
Good evening, everyone.
So before इससे पहले हम और कुछ बात करें, सबसे पहले तो क्वेश्चंस हमारे पास है जो हमें बात करनी है पहले. So let's start with Aparna Narain. Good evening, Aparna, again. How are you?
Hello, good evening. Very well, thank you.
So you have this NGO Progress Alternatives. So I wanted to understand कैसे आपने इसको start किया and what was the inspiration behind this?
So this, Aparna, we are going to be completing 25 years by now. This started in 1997. It apparently was a brainchild of Mr. Vidyarthi, and a few people, eminent people of Lucknow, sat together on the dining table, and this I think this was inspired by our very own female household workers. That it came up about how they take care of their own health, and how the women in rural areas take care of their themselves health wise. So it just came about that we, the blessed ones, can do a little bit on our part to come forward and be there for the women's health. So this was a basic inspiration that came up in their minds, and thus this started with the Progress Alternatives, also known as Nayi Rahein, in the rural sectors.
Beautiful. So like there are many NGOs which are working, or communities, they're working with both the genders. I think Aapka, it's only focused on women, right?
Yes.
So
yes,
why is
yes.
that? Any specific reason for that, or like just ऐसे ही सोचा कि नहीं women के लिए ही कुछ करना है?
Specific reason यही था that we primarily believe that the women, the females are the neglected ones. Even in rural sectors, अभी भी वो conservative thought है that the men needs to be fed first. दूध घी दही पहले उनको खिलाएंगे, and whatever the remains are probably, and if not the remains, would be fed to the women. So health wise, the women were always the neglected ones, even though they are the future bearers of our country. So the primary incentive was this, the inspiration was this, that if a girl child is strong, if it will lead to a stronger women and thereby a stronger future for our country. So we primarily focused only on the female folk, their health, their education, their well-being, their empowerment. So the basic concern was just this, that men are still fed properly, taken care of, but it's the women, it's the female who are not really given that much attention by their own family members. Forget the organizations who are working towards upliftment. So so we had to bring about that change and that awareness that with the men, it is you yourselves who have to take care of yourself and the girl child that you have. So that was the basic incentive, that you must come forward, feed yourself equally well, so that कल के दिन गांव भी जाना है, मतलब आपके घर में, आपको खेत में भी जाना है, so you are strong enough to do that work along with bearing a child. So it was very important that they keep themselves healthy and well. So that awareness was needed in the rural sector. That it is very important that you take care of your own self along with the men in your family.
Yeah, that's right. And any specific reason for working in rural areas? Because there are so many urban slums and people, families around, जिनको हम वहाँ भी काफी women है जो कि neglected lot है. So there also we can target. So why especially in rural areas?
See, rural, I believe, is still the major part of our country, because urban class may awareness is there, and rural, I believe, is quite an untouched sector of our country, and comprising of the major section of our country. So I've seen a couple of organizations who still work in the urban sector, but rural and the interiors of the rural are very untouched, and were not really taken care by the government or any other organization that may be there. So we really thought of focusing on the rural sectors and reaching out to the people and villages where there is not even a basic health facility available. I mean, even a pregnant lady will probably have to go by uneven roads where there are no roads probably, and
Mhm.
travel like a kilometer or a two to reach out the basic healthcare facility in any emergencies. So we primarily focused. We have staff and otherwise, who reach out to the interior sector where there is no basic health ailment. No, even ASHA and A&M workers are not that affluent with the
Oh,
workers, with the working of the society, with the working towards the women. So it is our society, it is our NGO who reaches out to these pregnant women and the ladies, lactating women, to make them aware about the importance of the vaccines, importance of the nutrition that they need to intake. So it was very important that we reach out to these rural areas to make them aware about their own health safety and precautions, because child mortality was very high in rural. So it was we were hell bent that we're going to focus on the rural areas, because urban still awareness is there. There are many organizations such as InnerWheel,
yeah, true.
which is
Yeah.
coming forward and taking care of the urban section.
Mm,
But
mhm.
rural was one area that we primarily felt that there was a need, and we're reaching out as far as we can.
No, no, you are really creating, really doing so much things in rural areas. So, like, what all activities you do basically? There's so many sectors, no, for women, basically, livelihood, trainings, education. So, what all you focus upon?
So yeah, primarily we focus on health. So the basic incentive, the basic motivation of starting up this was to take care of the health of the women, the girls. So apart from the health training, we have a book published which comprises of basic ailments that are there, water related, weather related, anemia, poor hygiene, health conditions. So we basically teach them about the health and hygiene. We give out free medicines and give them talk shows by the government, by these institutes, medical institutes in Lucknow. We are distributing napkins, which we believed and got to know that they are very very primitive ways that they are
Mm,
using napkins. So
yeah.
we made them aware, gave them lectures, told them importance of keeping personal hygiene, and in a span of 2 to 3 years, we got them so used to the napkins that they can't go back to their olden ways. So it was very difficult to even imbibe that routine in them, that it is very essential that you take care of your personal health, personal
Yeah.
well-being.
Yes.
Besides that, we have started with the vocational training. We are giving out of the box computer training, because sewing
Okay.
and parlor is definitely there, and most of the women are interested in. But somehow we thought that even the a little more educated women may want to learn the computers, because
Mm-hmm.
that, I think, is the future of the country. Anybody who's seeking to take a job or reach out to a little better section of the city may need
Mm-hmm.
a little education in computers. So we're giving out computer training, and we have opened these parlors to make the women independent, self-employed. So couple of toilet blocks that has been opened by a society. So it
Okay.
is a little bit on our part that we are going about to get the change in the society, in the rural sector of the society. So these are the basic courses that we are reaching out to them.
You're impacting in a very different manners, no, in all the sectors, especially on health, I guess. And that's something
Yes.
very important and the most neglected part in case of women because they don't care for themselves, they care for other people. So I think that's the most important thing. So, like, you've been there into system for so long. So how many girls have you impacted so far? I should say, how many thousands of girls you have impacted so far?
Yeah, I think apparently in about these 25 years, we must have reached about over 50 villages and covered
Okay.
all of the women folk. I mean, make them aware of the health and make them self sufficient. Many of them open their own boutiques and parlors.
Oh, lovely.
So, yeah, it's very satisfying, to see that these girls have been trained by us and have, opened their own parlors and making their self sufficient. So I think over 50 villages and about more than more than a lakh or something women, because it is very proximity. I mean, it's the women folk of all the
Yeah.
villages. So we're trying to reach out the maximum we can. So I think
Hmm.
it's a little on a part that we reach out to far-fetched and remote areas where there are no basic health amenities, and we're doing a bit to reach out to make them aware about taking care of themselves, then their own selves, because it is very important that they take care of themselves. And besides the men of the family, it is important that the girl child is also being fed well.
Hmm.
So we giving them medicines and other health benefits with regards to the doctors who are available. So trying to do our best to reach out the masses in the rural areas.
That's really great. So what about the vaccination and all? I hope you're also conducting some drives
Yes,
also
yes,
there.
we've organized a couple of vaccination camps.
Hmm.
So for the children, we are still awaited, but yeah, for the rural sectors, the old women and
Hmm.
men, we have opened up this vaccination camp in concern with the government. So
Okay.
getting it done with that, yeah.
Lovely, interesting, Aparna. Really, a round of applause for
Thank you
you.
so
Really,
much.
so much good work. And of course,
Thank
you
you.
can tell us amazing stories of these women who are doing really good. The one has started a boutique and all. So we would like to publish their stories in Women Shine also. You can send
Surely,
us.
that'd be lovely. Yes, we'll
Okay.
do. We'll do. Thank
All
you.
right. So moving to another change maker, we have Saloni Bhardwaj, who's co-founder and chief transformation officer at Lotus Petal Foundation. Welcome, Saloni.
Thank you for having me, Aparna. Thank you so much for organizing this and introducing me to other lovely women who I can learn so much from.
Yes. So, Saloni, the first question for you, that you are a writer and a journalist. So, how did working with non-profits happened in your life?
Um, as cliche as it may sound, we come from these lovely privileged homes, and the easiest way we feel we can help someone or tell someone's story is sitting on a desk and chair, right? So, that is how I felt. I wanted to, help people live better lives or tell their stories or just impact certain lives and get it forward. And I grew up in Lucknow, and I was raised in a regular home where both the parents had to work, and I went to this fantastic convent where the nuns made sure that giving back became a part of our lifestyle. तो
Yeah.
जितना भी we could give उतना कम लगता था, as we were going deeper. So
Mm-hmm.
somewhere with journalism and camera and writing, it didn't feel enough. As I grew deeper into people and people's stories, I wanted to touch and feel the beneficiary. I wanted to be a part of the impact. I wanted to influence impact, really.
Mm-hmm.
And जैसे जैसे you go deeper in this work, you realize that the real fun is at the grassroots. The real fun is when you're that's the adrenaline rush one
Yes.
would get, when you're
Yes.
interacting with the beneficiary and hearing
Mm-hmm.
the real story. So I think that is where dheere dheere karke I became a volunteer. And I was very very grateful. I had the opportunity to volunteer overseas in some of the fantastic organizations, and then Lotus Petal happened. And then rest, as they say, is history. I think I surrendered to the calling of my life, and I'm here.
So that's rest is history, right?
Beginning to be. I mean,
Okay.
it's humbling to say history in front of ladies who've been working for so long. You know, I'm still a fledgling, learning the ways. Gee.
So next is what impact areas Lotus Petal Foundation works upon.
So, you know, we are situated in the Millennium City of Gurgaon. We are directly working in the urban slums because Gurgaon, जैसे कि आप जानते हैं, मतलब it's like it is something else. And with all the skyscrapers and high rises and the expats living here, there is a underbelly of a thriving slums, urban slums, and you know a lot of people have migrated from different states, and they have called the city home for over 2 decades now. You know, people speak different languages, but are now locals. तो इस microcosm की एक अपने challenges हैं, अपनी potential है, and you know, so Lotus Petal focuses on that. Our main focus area, thematic area, is education. We run two programs. We run a school, a regular school, जिसमें आप और मैं गए हैं, और एक है प्रतिष्ठान लर्निंग सेंटर, जो कि एक फास्ट ट्रैक है स्कूल ड्रॉप आउट्स और टीनेजर्स हु आर आउट ऑफ द स्कूल सिस्टम, उनके री एंट्री के लिए. तो 5 साल में दे आर एबल टू फिनिश देयर 10th and 12th, स्पीक इन इंग्लिश, गेट अ वोकेशनल स्किल ट्रेनिंग, and then work with you and me. So that's like a game changer. And besides education, nutrition and livelihood and skilling is what we focus upon. In short, you know, anything that is needed to keep the child in school, जो भी चाहिए बच्चे को क्लास के अंदर रखने के लिए, that is what Lotus Petal focuses in. You know, we all don't even realize how much it takes to make sure that a child is inside a classroom every day. You know, health, nutrition, सर में दर्द नहीं होना चाहिए, नाक नहीं बहना चाहिए, पेरेंट्स की तबीयत ठीक होनी चाहिए, पिताजी के पास नौकरी होनी चाहिए, you know, घर में खाना होना चाहिए. It's like a whole ecosystem that is required. So in short, you know, we do a lot of things, but it's only to keep the child in the school. So, and you know, once they graduate, that you know they can get a good job, so that they live a life of dignity when you know they're really able to break the ceiling of poverty.
Okay, great. So, do you help them in getting jobs also, or like it's just okay? You do that.
Yeah, we are in touch with all the 52 alumni we have. We are a young organization. We complete a decade this year, and the schools are only about 7-8 years old. So हमारे जो we have so all of them are you know studying distance learning से, they are working, and so after class 12th हमारा model है कि after 12th they have to get into a job in the formal sector, and they have to continue their undergrad through distance learning. And so because you know that ensures sustainability, because you know इनके लिए बहुत दूर तक पढ़ाई करना और फिर घर पे सिर्फ पढ़ाई के लिए रहना तो थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है.
And this is like earn while learn, right?
That is right. Earn as you learn.
Yeah, earn as you learn.
Earn must when you learn, I think, you know, because nowadays teenagers feel they're entitled to not earn and they have to study. So earn must when you learn.
Okay. So like I saw your website, there was various SDG goals and all over there. So how do you align your foundation with these SDG goals?
So we are, you know, इतना सारा कुछ है करने के लिए, and you know we wanted to have a focus, you know, a complete focus. So you know we are totally aligned with the SDGs of 2030, and out of 17 we are doing 9 SDGs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so we are focused on you know no poverty, zero hunger, quality education, gender equality, good health and well-being, decent work and employment, infrastructure development, and reducing inequalities. तो हम लोग गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में हेल्प करते हैं, स्टेम लर्निंग में सपोर्ट करते हैं, इनोवेशन बहुत सपोर्ट करते हैं बच्चों का. Health and well-being is very important, whether it is physical health, mental health, or just like, as I said, khasi, zukham, bukhar. So, you know, we take care of this. And, you know, today I was just thinking, like, when you're talking about SDGs, I think SDG 4, quality education, gender equality, and reducing inequalities, I think should be celebrated and reflected on a day like today, you know, because we're talking about education and gender. And here, also with education, I think the most important thing is to show the girls what is the outcome of education. You know, because अभी भी हम लोग इतना focused हैं सिर्फ education के ऊपर के लड़की की पढ़ा के क्या होगा, शादी करानी है. तो for this mentality, I think they need to see what happens after education. So why it is important to be economically independent. Why should you have a bank account? Create
Right.
a work environment where women are celebrated, included, and are equal, right? In Lotus Petal, we are almost 64% women, and not
Okay.
just regular. We are over 100, we are almost 125 change makers. We call our employees change makers, and we are about 64% women. And women in leadership roles, where they are included in decision making, where they had equal salaries, equal opportunities. Maternity leave में बहुत support देते हैं. When they come back as a new mom, their coming back is celebrated, so that there is no level of insecurity, and all kinds of benefits at that time. Your place is secure. So I think not just education, but creating an inclusive work environment where women after studying can know where to go to is very important. Having role models. जैसे आप लोग सब हैं, for women to know कि where education can take them. जैसे Aparna is working in the villages. they don't feel the value of education. क्या होगा पढ़ के? जैसे शहर में जैसे हम काम कर रहे हैं, तो उनके पेरेंट्स ऐसे घरों में काम कर रहे होते हैं जो कि आप और मेरे जैसे हैं, तो उनको पता है कि एजुकेशन के बाद क्या हो सकता है. So creating the right kind of environment and objective education, I think that is very important. So 9 SDGs out of 17, coming back to that.
Great. So, there have been so many stories, must be in your 10 years of journey, right, with this foundation. So, can you share one story of change?
Okay, so this is a very tough one. 365 days and almost 1100 students. Every story is amazing.
मतलब जिसमें लगाओ जितने ज़्यादा impact create किया हो उसने.
So this is my dearest of stories. So I'll talk about Saloni. She is the first student of Lotus Petal. Incidentally, even she is called Saloni Raj. And वो और उनके दो छोटे भाई हमारे यहाँ आए थे 2013 में पढ़ने. And of course, their father had left them, and she was the oldest of the siblings. 12 साल की थी वो उस टाइम पे. और उनकी मदर जो थी वो अभी भी घरों में बर्तन करती हैं, खाना बनाती हैं. And Saloni, when she came, she said she had the learning levels of a grade 4 child, and वो 12 साल की थी और दो छोटे भाई बहन का भी ध्यान रखना होता था. And she said she wants to become a doctor. So she will be like, okay, how everybody wants to be a doctor. And so ठीक है. And then we got her entered into the Pratishthan program, the fast track program, 5 saal wala. So you'll be surprised that this is 2013 I'm talking about, and she would come in the 5 years, she never took a day off. And she used to live about 15-18 kilometers away from the school campus where we were. चाहे बारिश हो, चाहे घुटने तक का पानी हो, चाहे सर्दी हो, full attendance for 5 years. And this is from 2013 to 17-18 I'm talking about. And a girl from the slums still lives in the Badshahpur slums of Gurgaon. And in 2019 July, she cracked the NEET entrance exam. Right now, she's studying to be a doctor at JD Medical Institute in Sirsa.
Wow.
After she got through the school, her biggest highlight was that she has her room, her own bed, and her own closet. So, these small celebrations, and she continues to inspire me every other day. Whenever I'm tired and worn out, I think of her.
Oh, lovely. This is actually a story of change, really. Oof, very touching,
You should talk to her. She is so eloquent and so graceful and such an inspiration. I'll connect you with her.
Of course. I can do an interview with her or maybe write about her in my Women Shine. We have a segment which is called Shining Stars. So there, of course, why not? There's such a impressive, inspiration story in journey of the world. Yeah.
And she went, of course, because of the best individual donors and corporates. She went to the best coaching institute and everything. But ultimately, it was her resilience. The girl from the slums, sitting in an institute in Gurgaon, where everybody is someone or has gone, so it's in her inner resilience, which inspires me a lot. Never say die and never give up.
Yes, that's a true example of this statement. Love.
Yeah.
Okay, during COVID-19, you got this award, Social Leader of the Year, right? So can you just tell us about brief about this. Like I guess I've read that during COVID आपने बहुत काम किया with वहाँ पे गुड़गांव में बहुत ज़्यादा. For that you got this award. तो कुछ और थोड़ा डिटेल बताइए इसके बारे में.
पहले तो जितना भी काम करें उतना कम ही होता है. हिंदुस्तान में तो काम करने की कितनी जरूरत है. So I think whatever we do, it was just a little drop in the ocean. Thank you for acknowledging the award. And I think to March 2020 and the first lockdown was something which I don't think we've ever seen something like that in our life. And I really wish that that just remains as a good memory and we don't see something like that. So 23 मार्च को हमारा नया सेशन शुरू होने वाला था, सबका academic session. You know, we were all getting ready for children to come back to school, and you know, we had these 2 schools and a kitchen and lovely everything. But the lockdown happened, and then suddenly overnight, this lovely charity of Gurgaon, you know, with 2 schools became absolutely irrelevant. You know, बच्चे ही नहीं हैं, ना kitchen है, ना classroom है, and everything just became absolutely irrelevant. But within, you know, I have a fantastic team. We are totally, you know, the leadership of the organization and the team, it's very, very agile and believes in the foresight and the vision. I think in a very short span of barely 1 week, we were able to transition into an online model of school. You know, on 28th March 2020, we started the online school. And from April 1st, 2020, when we did not even know how to step out of the house because of the lockdown, our kitchen jo band pada tha 7 dinon ke liye, we were able to make it into a community kitchen. And, you know, we saw all these migrant workers walk on the streets. So we just, you know, got in touch with the local administration. And in the middle of all that lockdown, we got our act together and we were able to feed more than 2,000 people every single day on the streets, in the slums, at the stadiums, railway station ke bahar, you know, small children, pregnant women, lactating mothers, and, you know, sadak pe chalte hue logon ko rok ke khana dena, because, you know, people were just walking. And I think, by May end, we were able to provide over 400 children a digital device at home, because pehle lockdown ka jab khula, to unke parents naukri pe jaane lage. So, you know, we were able to, you know, fundraise. We have some great donors and supporters, and we were able to fundraise, and over 400 children got a digital device, whether it was a laptop or a tab. We were able to connect our donors with our beneficiary ki parents, and they could get a monthly allowance directly. Like if Aparna wants to support Saloni Raj's family, you can just directly do it through a bank transfer. We were able to start a hyper local program called Blue Khoj, jahan pe jo नौकरी चली गई थी सबकी, तो in case, you know, some of our donors and people around wanted a cook, a gardener, a driver, we were able to connect to that. And you know, before we could know, the online school became a hybrid school, and now that same school has evolved, and it's, you know, beaming lectures to over 40 schools in Gurgaon, government schools in Gurgaon. So, you know, I think one step with courage and with the support of the team, I think just went one after the other. And I think I was very grateful that my biggest job that time was to keep everyone together and keep them focused on the vision of Lotus Petal, which keeps the child in the center. So whatever it takes to keep the child inside the classroom or in the home with the device. And we were very grateful that we were able to retain 98% of our beneficiary in spite of the migration and everything. So, you know, parents के पास घर में खाना हो, नौकरी हो, या थोड़ा पैसा हो, तो time कट जाता है. So I think, so that is how I think a lot of people in the peer recognized the hard work of Lotus Petal, and they were kind enough to nominate me. But I think it was the team effort and everybody in the team who feels so much about the work. So that was that.
Congratulations again. Wonderful work. Okay, so moving ahead, we have with us Versha Kumar. She's an entrepreneur and also a part of InnerWheel organization. Good evening, Versha ji.
Good evening, Aparna. Good evening, everyone.
Versha, you represent this InnerWheel organization. So can you tell us, because there are many viewers who are not aware of this organization, so can you tell us what is InnerWheel organization?
Yes, Aparna, definitely. I would love to tell you what is InnerWheel. I'm very happy to introduce you all with the InnerWheel Club. This InnerWheel is a women organization, and we women are working for the women. And it's a wonderful organization, world's largest women organization, and it's spread all over the world in about 104 countries. It's spread, and more than 110,000 members are there in a week,
Okay.
ladies members. It's
Mhm.
only women organization. Only women can join this organization. And अगर मैं इंडिया की बात करूँ तो we are 45,000 members in India, and about 27 districts. InnerWheel is present in about 27 districts.
Okay.
And the motto of InnerWheel is the friendship and service. So we women are together. We are working for the women, and with friendship and service. So this is the something about the InnerWheel and why people want to join InnerWheel. Aparna, जैसे कि मैंने अभी सुना, Aparna Narain and Saloni, they are working for the society. बट एक जो नॉर्मल साधारण सी जो एक लेडी होती है, वो सोचती तो है कि मैं सोसाइटी के लिए कुछ कर पाऊँ, मैंने जो कुछ पाया है मैं इन रिटर्न कुछ दे पाऊँ, बट वो इतने बड़े सपने अपने पूरे नहीं कर पाती जैसे कि अपर्णा और सलोनी ने कर लिया है. तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि InnerWheel इज अ वंडरफुल प्लेटफॉर्म फॉर सच टाइप ऑफ लेडीज एंड वुमेन कि वो इसको ज्वाइन करती हैं और जो भी उनके मन में छोटा छोटा सा करने की एक इच्छा होती है समाज के लिए, उसको कर पाती हैं. और यही एक रीजन है कि आज हम इतना ग्रो कर चुके हैं, पूरे 104 देशों में हम फैल चुके हैं और डे बाय डे इंक्रीज ही हो रहा है हमारी स्ट्रेंथ. रोज हमारे पास फोन कॉल्स आती हैं, रोज हमारे पास लोग आते हैं कि आई वांट टू ज्वाइन InnerWheel. और जब भी कभी मैं उनसे ये सवाल पूछती हूँ कि क्यों ज्वाइन करना चाहते हैं, सबका बस एक ही जवाब होता है कि जो हमें मिला है समाज से, हम उनको भी कुछ देना चाहते हैं. तो इट्स अ वंडरफुल प्लेस, इट्स अ वंडरफुल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कि हम अपना कुछ एक छोटा सा सहयोग सोसाइटी को दे सकें. तो ये है InnerWheel. और बाकी तो InnerWheel में जो हम काम करते हैं वो हर फील्ड में काम करते हैं. मेनली वी आर वर्किंग फॉर द विमेन, but for all the needy and underprivileged people, we are working for the underprivileged people too, but mainly we are working for women. And उसमें हम health पे भी we are working. We are also working on the education. We are working on the poverty and financial support we are providing, and of course for the peace also we are working. So this
Okay,
is
that's lovely. So in a way, एक InnerWheel एक platform है जिसमें अगर कोई, if you want to help people, you can come on this platform and start helping people. I think that's lovely. So जैसे ये organization which works for women and girls, so काफी अपने impact create किए हैं काफी साल से, इतना बड़ा internationally भी ये है ये organization. तो कुछ एक एग्जाम्पल आप बताएंगे कोई जिसमें आपने किसी गर्ल चाइल्ड को इम्पैक्ट किया हो, मतलब मेजरली, जैसे भी सलोनी का तो एग्जाम्पल आई थिंक इट्स लवली. Imagine somebody from slum is now studying she's a doctor now, she will be a doctor, right? So that's something very lovely. So ऐसा कोई इम्पैक्ट है, कोई ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट बताएंगे आप जिसमें इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट किया हो आपने कुछ?
हाँ अपर्णा, बिल्कुल. InnerWheel ने बहुत सारे ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट्स कर रखे हैं और कर रहे हैं, हम आगे भी करेंगे, जिसने सोसाइटी पे अपना एक इम्पैक्ट दिया है. जिसमें से एक प्रोजेक्ट जो बहुत ज्यादा मेरे दिल के करीब है, मुझे अच्छा लगता है, मैं वो शेयर करती हूँ आप लोगों से. हमारे लखनऊ क्लब का ही एक प्रोजेक्ट है. उस प्रोजेक्ट का नाम है आओ सवारे कल. तो इसके बारे में मैं आपको थोड़ा शेयर करती हूँ. InnerWheel क्लब ऑफ लखनऊ बारादरी का ये एक प्रोजेक्ट है और यहाँ के मेंबर्स ने एक मेंबर के घर के पास में एक स्लम एरिया था और बहुत ही बुरी हालत में था वो. मतलब वहाँ पर बहुत जैसे होते हैं बहुत ही गरीब और बहुत ही वैसे लोग वहाँ पर रहते थे. तो उन्होंने उस स्लम को अडॉप्ट कर लिया और अडॉप्ट करने के बाद वहाँ का हर मेंबर वहाँ पर जाता था और ना सिर्फ उन्होंने उस स्लम का कायाकल्प किया, मतलब उसका जो वहाँ का जो लुक था वो चेंज किया, बल्कि वहाँ के एक एक मेंबर की लाइफ को चेंज कर दिया उन्होंने. वहाँ के
Okay.
बच्चों को एक अच्छी ट्रेनिंग देना, और मेंबर्स का डेडिकेशन जो मैंने देखा वो वाकई कमाल का था। एक एक बच्चे को स्कूल भेजना तो एक था ही कि वो उनको एजुकेशन प्रोवाइड कराई उन्होंने, उसी के साथ साथ उनको पर्सनल ग्रूमिंग, उनकी कैरियर काउंसलिंग, और साथ में वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग, जो जिस बच्चे का जिसमें इंटरेस्ट था उसको वो ट्रेनिंग दिलाकर आज वहाँ पर जितने भी बच्चे हैं वो सब अपने आप में एक अच्छे से, एक जो अच्छे घरों के बच्चे होते हैं उनके बराबर खड़े हैं। और
अरे
उन बच्चों को साथ में उनका ये भी सपोर्ट रहता है कि जब हम लोगों के घरों में कोई फंक्शन होते हैं, कोई प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं, तो हम उन बच्चों को बुलाते हैं और वो हमारे साथ, हम सबके साथ मिलकर उस प्रोग्राम उसको एंजॉय भी करते हैं। और जो उनके अंदर टैलेंट होता है, जैसे रंगोली बनाना है या मेहंदी लगाना है, इन सब में वहाँ के जो मेंबर्स हैं वो उन्हें अपने घर में बुलाकर उनको उनकी अर्निंग का सोर्स भी डेवलप करते हैं। तो इस तरह के काम इनरव्हील करता है, और मुझे लगता है कि ये कहीं ना कहीं अपनी एक छाप छोड़ता है सोसाइटी के अंदर, जो औरों को इंस्पायर करेगा इस तरह का कुछ करने के लिए।
लवली, इनफैक्ट ये नाम ही कितना अच्छा है, आओ सवारे कल, एक्चुअली बिकॉज बच्चे ही हमारे आगे का फ्यूचर हैं। सो आई थिंक दिस इज अ लवली टॉपिक ही बहुत अच्छा है प्रोजेक्ट का ये। एक्सेलेंट।
ये
अच्छा, जैसे यू बीन इनटू इनरव्हील फॉर सो लॉन्ग, और अब आप जुलाई से यू विल बी डिस्ट्रिक्ट चेयरमैन ऑफ 312। सो कैसे आपके पास बहुत रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज आ जाएंगी, बहुत लोगों के काफी होप्स होंगे आपके लिए कि अब आप क्या करोगे। सो क्या है, आपने क्या सोचा है, बिकॉज यू हैव टू हैव सो मच थिंग्स टू हैंडल अपॉन, टीम होगी आपके पास जिसको आप ड्राइव करोगे करने के लिए। सो क्या आपका थॉट प्रोसेस क्या है इसके पीछे, मतलब व्हाट हैव यू प्लान फॉर दिस कमिंग ईयर, and especially for this segment, vertical of girls and women education and women empowerment?
Yes, Aparna, it's definitely it's a golden opportunity for me. बहुत सालों से इंतजार करके हम इस जगह पर पहुंच पाए हैं कि मुझे कुछ ऐसा करने का मौका मिल रहा है कि मैं जो मेरे मन में है और इतने सालों से प्लान कर रही हूँ उसको मैं एग्जीक्यूट कर सकूं। तो वो मैं जरूर करूंगी, और मैं आज शेयर करती हूँ तुम्हारे साथ कि मैं क्या करने का सोच रही हूँ। मेरा लखनऊ में करीब 13 क्लब्स हैं, और ऑल ओवर डिस्ट्रिक्ट जो हमारा डिस्ट्रिक्ट है इनरव्हील का, उसमें 73 क्लब्स हैं। तो हम बहुत बड़ा कुछ सोच रहे हैं बच्चों के लिए और गर्ल चाइल्ड के लिए स्पेशली करने के लिए, जिसमें मैं चाहती हूँ, मेरा ये ड्रीम है कि मैं उन बच्चों को इंडिपेंडेंट बना सकूँ। इंडिपेंडेंट नॉट ओनली इन द सेंस ऑफ फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस, बट मैं ये चाहती हूँ कि वो डिसीजन मेकिंग में भी उनका एक शेयर रहे अपनी फैमिलीज में, अपनी बात कहने की उनके अंदर हिम्मत हो कि नहीं, मैं ऐसा चाहती हूँ और ये मेरा डिसीजन है। तो पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट के साथ साथ उनको एजुकेशन प्रोवाइड कराना, और इसी के साथ उनके अंदर जो भी कोई टैलेंट है या ऐसा कोई हुनर है उसको डेवलप करके कुछ ट्रेनिंग वगैरह इन बच्चों को प्रोवाइड करना, कुछ इस तरह का प्लान हम लोग बना रहे हैं। और आई होप कि इन फ्यूचर में आने वाले साल में मैं इसको एग्जीक्यूट कर पाऊंगी। आप लोगों की अगर मुझे सपोर्ट और ब्लेसिंग्स मिलेंगे तो डेफिनेटली मैं कुछ कर पाऊंगी। और इनरव्हील का जो मोटो इस साल का मोटो है, वो इस साल का क्या हम लोग इस पे काम करते हैं, वो है उनका मानना है कि स्ट्रॉन्ग विमेन स्ट्रॉन्गर वर्ल्ड। मतलब अगर एक सशक्त महिला है तो वो ही एक सशक्त समाज का और संसार का निर्माण कर सकती है। तो मुझे वही मेरा भी सपना है कि मैं हर लड़की को, हर महिला को सशक्त बनाना चाहूंगी और इसी पे काम करना चाहूंगी।
लवली लवली। तो आई थिंक ये तो बहुत ही, इनफैक्ट ये पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट समथिंग वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, बिकॉज ठीक है आप फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंट बना दो, बट देन वो जो पर्सनालिटी कॉन्फिडेंस जो है वो अगर नहीं है तो फिर कुछ नहीं होता है वो। आई थिंक दिस इज समथिंग वेरी गुड एंड ऑल द बेस्ट टू यू। आप बहुत अच्छी तरह से अगले साल फिर हम नेशनल गर्ल चाइल्ड डे पे मिलेंगे और आपसे पूछेंगे आपने क्या क्या किया। तब तक आपका प्रोजेक्ट बहुत अच्छा हो चुका होगा। So all the best to you, Versha ji. And
thank you
so much, amazing ladies. आपने बहुत अच्छा, it was really very inspiring. खैर अब तो मैं NGO नहीं स्टार्ट कर सकती हूँ, मैं तो अपने फोकस ही करूँगी अपनी चीजों पे. But then the people who are listening and who really want to impact ladies, women and girls, I think that's a wonderful thing. you should join some such platforms, or आप अपना भी start कर सकते हैं. Do internship with such organization wherein you can learn so many things कि कैसे काम होता है. Then probably you can start your own thing. I think this is something very interesting and I think very apt for this National Girl Child Day. And then of course, जैसे हमने उसमें लिखा भी हुआ है, my tagline, empowering girls and thus empowering nation. And that's so true about this. So thank you all again. Have a very good evening. Stay safe and take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Bye-bye.
Aparna.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.